Hey friends, you are Crafting with Kim Byers, and today we're making Christmas gifts. So I don't know if you guys are like me, but I love to make little treats and things and gifts for my friends each Christmas. And so I don't want to do anything, really expensive or elaborate. I just want them to know that I'm thinking about them through the holidays. And so what I love to do is to give them like personalized little containers or things like that with sweet treats on the inside. So this year I am giving these darling little, like this is my little snowman guy. And then I have a little Santa guy. And so these jars I got while they were on half off, and they do this like every other week at Hobby Lobby. You can buy like their glass containers. If you guys ever shop Hobby Lobby, you know what I'm talking about. It's like things are cyclically on sale. So this one, I want to say it was $3 or $3.25. And so I picked up a number of these, and then we're going to take vinyl today with our Cricut and personalize them. I'm going to show you how to use transfer tape. I'm going to show you how to cut out vinyl, and I'm going to show you how to layer vinyl. Okay, so I hope that you will stick around and have some fun with me, and we are going to make some Christmas gifts. Okay, so here we are in Cricut Design Space, and what I'm going to show you today is two things. You can do what we're doing with these little candy jars so easy. You can go into Cricut Design Space images and search for snowmen or red birds or Santa or whatever you want that to be, and use the exact image from Cricut Design Space, and that is more than fine. On the other hand, you can also take that and peel it apart and only keep the pieces that you want and put a fun little message with it. All you would do is go into layers, and you would pick and choose the elements that you wanted. So I turned off his body, and then I did end up turning off his buttons. But if you see, these are kind of the overlay cute part of the button, and then there's still more button here in his body. And so I kept his body, his hat, elements, and his gloves. So what you can do now, so you're like, well, I still don't want all of that. Then you can maybe click on his face and make sure that you click over into layers and you're only highlighting one item. And when you highlight one item, the contour tool will show up. If you've not used the contour tool, I'm going to put a little video up above on how to use contour. It's really easy, but it will help you to create and take apart images and make them exactly what you want. So if you go into contour and say, I want to get rid of the buttons. So then you can click off of all of those buttons, and you're just going to keep the little hat and his face. Okay, and so as far as the text is concerned, all I did is I went into text, and then I typed in have. And so it brings up whatever font you used, the latest font that you used, and this one was Autumn Sunshine. And this is actually the font that is used here, Yourself A. So you just take a font and then size it kind of the way you want to. You can choose any font you want. I would be a little careful about getting too curly Q the smaller you get, just because it's difficult to weed. But you can choose any font that you want. And so I just stacked those. And then this bottom one, Christmas, what I wanted to do was to curve it. Now Christmas altogether is too big, and I always like Christ, being separated. I think that's fun on most any craft that I do. But what you could do is you take that particular word. So let's just take this one, for instance, because we have this over here. And you go into curve, and you can curve it around. And so different fonts will look different ways. So just pick a font that works great for you, and then you can curve it to kind of give your snowman a bottom. I'm going to close that. Okay, and so when we go into Santa, again, you just go into images and you can search Santa, and there's all that kind of things are going to pop up. Well, I didn't find exactly what I wanted, so what I did is I grabbed this, which is like the Santa suit, and it had the hat and it had the legs, but it didn't have a belt. So this is a Santa gift tag. And by the way, I'll put all the codes to these down below just in case you want to recreate the exact thing. But this is actually a gift tag, and all I did was go over into layers and remove the elements that I didn't want. So I didn't want the tag or the buttons or the little white part, but so I'm left with a belt. See how great that is? And then I did search for Merry Christmas. So this is actually a font. I didn't type it. This is something that was already in Cricut Design Space, and so was this. So now that we've turned off everything that we're not using, let's go ahead and talk about how we prep these designs to go over to the mat. So before you go over to the mat, I just want you to know you can cut this with your Joy, with your Maker, with your Explorer. Any of your machines are going to work great for this. This is just vinyl. So beyond that, what we want to do is we want to make it easy on ourselves, and we want to send things over to the mat that are going to, group together or stay together. So we're going to attach our colors. And so also, if you want to create a ton of these, so for instance, you're doing the snowman and you want to create 6 or 7 or 12 or whatever, you can duplicate them on your canvas, or when you get over to the mat, you can duplicate them there. Okay, so what we want to do, if you click on Snowman, I want you guys to see over in layers, these are attached. So all of my reds for my snowman are going to cut together. And then if you click on the lettering, you can see that all of my lettering is attached with my snowman hat and face. And so I won't have to worry about, lining things up and that kind of thing. Once I get it on, I can place on the red and everything will be perfect. So let me show you how you do that with the Santa. So first of all, you want to make sure that whatever you have over in layers is not grouped. You want to make sure all of these pieces are independent of each other. And sometimes when you bring designs in from images, they will, be grouped. So maybe the hat is grouped with the white. If you start trying to attach things when they are grouped already over here, it's going to change your colors. So it's going to pick one color, most likely whatever's on top, and it's going to then turn your white red, and it's going to get really frustrating. So don't frustrate yourself. Go over into layers and make sure you ungroup all of these things. Now, once everything is individual, okay, so everything there is separate, then you can click on your red. There's your hat. You can click on Merry and Christmas. And by the way, before you click, so click on one and then Shift key, and then Christmas, Merry, hat, pants, and ho, ho, ho. So if you look in layers, those are the only things that are attached, right? So then we should be, or clicked on. So what we should be able to do is hit attach. And so now those items are going to go over to the mat together. Now I know what you're thinking. It's like, oh, where'd the green went away? It actually didn't. If you go up into arrange and send to the back, your green was just hidden behind your red. We didn't click on it. We didn't change that color. Now, if those had been, again, already grouped over in layers, it would have changed all those colors and driven you mad. So don't let that happen to you. So the difference is when you group something, just a little tutorial real quick, if you use the group feature here, you are grouping things on this mat so that you can move them around. So like these letters and things like, so, or these pieces right here, see, I can move them around, they're grouped. I can move them around and nothing's going, to happen to them. I'm not going to get them out of whack. But if I sent them to mat and they weren't attached, then they would be on the mat, as individual elements, and they wouldn't look like this anymore. So to keep things proportionate, to keep things in line, to keep things exactly spatially the way that they should be, you need to use the attach tool. Okay, all right, so now the next thing that we need to do is do the same thing with our black. Okay, and so then you could, go over to Color Sync, make sure everything is the way you want it to be now that we only have the items that we want to cut. So we have our red, we have black, we have orange for the nose, gold for the buckle, green, and then white. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors. Okay, so let's go ahead and choose. I'm going to use the Joy today just because it's out on the craft table already, and we're going to make it. Okay, and so now I can choose. Do I have smart material for all of these colors? And I could go without a mat. Do I need to use a mat? We would obviously not be using a card mat, or you could do multiple ways. So if I have some smart material and some mat, then I could choose multiple ways. I actually do have some smart, but I think I'm just going to do everything on the mat because I'm using such small pieces and I'm only creating 2. So let's go ahead and hit mat. Okay, so this is where if you wanted to create multiple copies, so say we were just doing, ones that were not personalized, you could go up and, change this and hit apply. And so see, it's going to duplicate all of those things on the mat and you're going to have exactly the number that you need. So just wanted you guys to be aware, especially with Christmas gifting time. Okay, so then we have our white mat. There's our gold. There is our orange. There's our green. See, such small pieces of material. And see there, our snowman is all attached and a part of our Santa is attached. That's perfect. That's going to make it really, really easy. And then the same with our red. Now make sure that you note that this is vinyl, so we don't mirror image that, so don't worry about this button here. We are just going to be cutting it face up as it is. Okay, so now we're ready to continue. And so at this point you get to choose your materials. These are all my favorite materials when I'm working with the Joy. So these are the ones that I've put in that category, but you can also go into Browse All Materials and just type vinyl. And then you're going to be able to choose from all the different kinds of vinyl. And I actually have some holographic sparkle that I might use for the green. Just make sure that whatever you're choosing for each of your mats, you come back and make sure that you have selected the appropriate vinyl as you go through the different pieces, because we do have 6 different colors. And so I'm just going to say that we're going to be using premium vinyl for our first mat, which is going to be our red. And so I want to go over and choose our red mat. And so I have my premium vinyl, my default on my pressure, fine point blade, and we're ready to go over to the craft table. Okay, so here we are on the craft table. These are the things that we're going to be using today. So I have an assortment of vinyl colors, including some really fun holographic. I have these great jars. These are the little jars I was talking about with the wooden lids. These are so sweet. I have my Joy. I have a pair of scissors. I do have my paper trimmer just because those who craft with me know I love using the trimmer to save materials. And I have my Cricut Joy mat and a ruler. So we're also going to be using weeding tools today. So let's go ahead and move these things out of the way and we'll set up our very first mat. So let's start with our red, and I just wanted to show you guys that you could do a really fun patterned vinyl as well. It doesn't just have to be solid colors. There's some beautiful fun patterns out there to work with, and I'll put some of those links down below. So, but we're going to start with our red, and we roughly need 3 1/4 inches by 4 1/4. So I'm just going to take my paper trimmer and I'm going to cut out my materials. Okay, so let's just pull out our ruler. So we need 3 1/2 by 4 1/4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 4 1/4, and then I'm going to look here and get my 3 1/2. Okay, and so then I can take a pair of scissors and I know I'm only cutting away what I need. It just limits your waste. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to put this on the mat. And remember, this is vinyl, so we do not have to, you know, when it's iron on, we're placing it face down, but with vinyl, we're face up. And so our design is longer than it is wide. And then you can use your fingers to put that down, or you could use your scraping tool. So now we'll remove the red, and then we'll cut out our next color and put it in the mat, and then we will weed all of them at the same time. Now the best way to get things off of the mat is to bend the mat and not the material. So just slightly bend the mat. Just pull away your material, and then we'll put on our next color. Okay, so now we've cut out everything and I've weeded most of the items. So this is your weeding tool, and so whenever you are weeding out vinyl, it is a very simple process. It pulls away really easily. When you're doing the lettering, all I would say is just go slow, take your time, and it just pulls right away. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to decide which pieces we're going to do first on our jars, and then we'll cut out a piece of transfer tape, and then we're going to use that transfer tape to pick up our design and move it to our glass. Like with everything else, I do not like to waste materials, and I don't like to waste transfer tape. So I'm going to put my largest item on the transfer tape, and so I know I need to do, you know, roughly, what is this? 3 inches or so, 2.5 inches. So I'm going to cut out a piece of transfer tape, and then I am going to use that same piece of transfer tape for all of my elements. So once you have a small corner pulled away, don't take it all the way off of the backer, but then place it on top using your grids as best as you can on top of your design. And you can use your scraping tool. Just pull, scrape, making sure you don't have any bubbles. So now with our transfer tape in place, and you can put it on with your fingers, you can use your scraping tool and make sure you get all those little edges all the way around your design. But once you're comfortable that you have the transfer tape well in place, just simply pull it away at an angle, your vinyl. And you may have to work it a little bit. The newer vinyl, the newer Cricut vinyl, especially the smart vinyl, the backer is really thick, and so it takes a little bit more to pick up the design. It's not hard, but it does take a little bit more effort. Okay, so now I have the entire design off on the transfer paper, and so whenever you have something round like this, I like to put something on the opposite side of it to kind of keep it from shifting and rolling on me. So the big thing when you apply this is you want to make sure that you have it in the correct position the first time, because once you lay it to the glass, some of it's going to want to adhere to it, so you don't really have an opportunity to like readjust. So kind of hold it above it. This design, I kind of want it to be a little bit more to the bottom than the top, just because it does have the lid. Use my grids. Okay, so I think that's good. And so then I'm just going to rub my finger in the center and then work to the sides, because I don't want any bubbles. And you can use your scraping tool for this, but it doesn't work as well. I mean, it does, but I find that my fingers probably do it just as good of a job on something that's kind of molded like this, because you can go in between each and every letter, and then you can take your transfer tape at the corner, and we want to pull at an angle and go slow. Go very slow while you do this. I'm trying not to get fingerprints all over the entire thing, but I think I'm going to have to. Okay. And if anything pulls up, just lay it back down and rub it back into place again. Ta-da! So we can place our nose, and we're just going to pop that off and hand place our nose. Oh, he's gonna be so cute. And then we're gonna do the same with the little ribbon on the top of his hat. And vinyl sticks to vinyl really well. Yes, okay, great. So now we have it in place. Okay, so then we want to take our, we could do this with transfer tape, or honestly, it's kind of satisfying just doing it by hand. How sweet! I am so loving this. I hope that it is as well received, because I'm going to fill it full of candy. Okay, so then we'll take our transfer tape and we'll do our Santa. Okay, so now it's time to make our Santa jar. And I just wanted to tell you guys, I actually ended up changing this font, because the font, okay, so this was the font that I was using, and it weeded. I mean, it's fine, except it's a little thinner than I really wanted it to be. And it's a little curly Q, like the curly Q there wanted to stick. So what I did is I just recut it with a chunkier font. Remember when I said that when you get into doing really tiny things like this, that the chunkier the better, really, and so that's what I did. So I just wanted to point that out to you guys. So now we're going to take this transfer tape, and we're going to use exact same transfer tape that we used on the snowman, and we are going to start with our red. and then slowly at an angle, and voila. I am so excited about how this turned out. And guys, you could put any message on this you want to, because we created this basically from scratch. So for the snowman, I put in white pretzels, and for the Santa, we can put in Lindor chocolates. Yay! Okay guys, so did you like the jar idea? Did you like being able to create your own design within Cricut Design Space? And you know, this doesn't have to go on jars. This can be for t-shirts or tote bags or whatever. Christmas card tags or Christmas tags. Christmas cards. You could use these ideas to create your own something for so many Christmas things. Okay guys, so I want you to craft with confidence. I want you to enjoy what you're doing. So if you have any questions about what we did today, please hop down in the description and leave me a comment. And I also posted links to everything that we used today so you can find it easily, including the design numbers. So for instance, if there is a code down there for the actual design in Cricut Design Space, make sure you put that hashtag on it, because without it, you can't find anything in Cricut Design Space. So just make sure that you do that as well. And I hope that you guys will join me for my next video. See you next time.